Good evening everyone, Kalla here. Welcome to my live stream, glad you could make it today. So, it's time for some more Radiant Tale. Last time we successfully finished our second performance in the Labyrinth City, and then we came here to Fantasy Venice that I don't remember the name of off the top of my head. The City of Love. And here we're going to do our performance in the underwater park. Literally underwater. There's a lot of magic involved in this. The city where everyone goes too far overboard. Was overboard also intended as a pun? Because I think it works as like that too. Because boats. Hello, dragon. Alright, let's see what we're gonna do for this performance. I mean, I know it's going to involve a lot of the water spirits, right? Pascalia. Is getting very involved with them. Wasn't the original intent, but yes, exactly. If a pun can be made, it should be made. Right. Anyway, shall we? And then the big day arrived. Since we were in Oriens, we followed the theme and set up couples seats for the first time. These were surprisingly well received. The goal of our shows isn't to earn money, but as a person who helps run a business, I can't help but think like that too. Our cities sure are special, huh?
今回新しく作ったチラシも効果的だった。だな。パスハリアの描いた絵すげえうまかったし。これなら毎回描いてほしいくらいね。
When we talked about making the flyer in the same way as usual, Pascalia had volunteered to draw this time. Perhaps because of that, the flyers have been gone in a flash. He usually tends to be more passive than proactive, but this time he seemed to be very invested in the show in Oriens. Maybe water spirits are so special to him because he's contracted with one.
そういや、パスハリアはどこだ？いつもなら一緒に客席眺めてるだろ？
Also, I want to see Pascalia's art skills. Why are they not showing me?
パスハリアならまだあっちで精霊と最終確認してるみたいよ。今回はパスハリアのショーだもんな。
ここまで大々的に人前で魔法を使うのも初めてだから確認したいことも多いのだろう。
これまでなんだかんだ魔法を使う演目は避けてたしな。
Time's running out, so I'll go fetch him.
ごめんねみんな。確認とかギリギリまでかかっちゃって。精霊さんたちにはそれぞれ配置についてもらったよ。いよいよなんだね。
With a tense look on his face, Pascalia took a quick glance at the audience seats.
よし、じゃあ今回の主役のパスハリアから一言。
え？適当にそれらしいこと言っとけ。正直ドキドキしすぎて頭が回らないんだけど。でも聞いてもらえるかな？
The group's eyes all focused on Pashalia. He finally got taught on how to use magic. I don't think he's found like an actual mentor, but I'm guessing the water spirits he's been talking to over the last few days have probably helped a little bit.
分かったことがあるんだ。今更なことかもしれないんだけど、僕にはみんながいる。
You just learned that now?
このサーカスはみんながいるからサーカスで、僕たちのショーはみんながいるから作れるもので、つまり
Pashalia looked at everyone's faces and gave us a big smile.
不安もあるけど、みんなと一緒なら大丈夫だって思えるんだ。きっと今日のショーも成功するよ。
お、言い切ったな。
成功すると自己暗示をかけるのも重要なことだからな。
ああ、絶対成功するさ。
お前たち、いつものことだが楽観的すぎだろ。
気を引き締めろってことだね。ザフォラのそういうところ、僕も見習わないと。
Zafora went silent. Wow.
しっかり者で計画性と行動力があって、練習には真面目に打ち込む真摯さもあって。
もういい、やめろ。
He is not used to being praised. Zafora interrupted, looking at his wit's end. Pashalia looked like he could go on, though.
そろそろ時間よ。みんな準備してちょうだい。
We replied with a nod and scattered to our stations.
ティファリア。
As everyone moved, Pashalia called out to me and I turned around to look at him.
今回は僕が精霊さんの言葉を伝えたいってわがままを聞いてくれてありがとう。
You're not being selfish at all. It was a proposal, one that turned out to be the best solution for our show this time. That's why I should be thanking you. Let's show all our guests how the spirits feel. Looks like you could go on there, reminds you of a certain someone. Alas.
精霊さんの中でも水の精霊さんは僕にとってやっぱり特別だから。
He tightened his grip on his baton and placed a hand over his chest. Glossary. Baton, a conductor's baton. Pashalia has learned to wield this item to give more precise directions to the spirits, and it has allowed him to add a lot more subtle touches to his performance.
今の僕たちみたいに助け合ってこの世界は回ってる。ないがしろにしていい存在なんてない。今すぐは無理かもしれないけど、少しでも未来が変わってくれたら嬉しい。
Everything will be all right. As long as we have faith, I'm sure we can change them.
ティファリア。うん、そうだね。未来は変えられる。そう信じるよ。
僕たちの仲を取り持ってくれた彼らがサーカスの人だったなんて驚いたね。
それにこのカップル席、特別感があって素敵だね。
ああ、チケットをくれたパスハリアさんに後でもう一度お礼を言いに行かなきゃね。
I wonder what the glossary reference for tickets is. And I pressed the wrong button. That one. Circuses' shows are free on principle, so tickets aren't actually required. However, when there are special services with a limited quantity, such as couple seats, tickets are handed out to avoid confusion. Hello, Nick. How are you doing?
こんな大規模なショーを見られるなんて長生きはするものだね。
この年になってカップル席なんて少し照れるわね。
Among the audience, I could spot some people we'd become acquainted with during our investigation. May we reach the hearts of everyone here. Please, hear the voice of the spirits. Pashalia. How am I? I'm good. Yeah. Right. Let's see this show.
Ladies and gentlemen! 親愛なるオリエンスの皆様、本日は我らの公演にお越しいただき誠にありがとうございます。数ある催しの中から私たちのショーにお越しくださり大変光栄に思います。皆様の選択を後悔させないような至福のひとときをお届けすることを精霊に誓って約束いたしましょう。それではこの地にふさわしい幻想的な時間をお過ごしください。
As Genia made an elegant bow, all the lights gave way to darkness. The commotion from moments ago was nowhere to be found. The tent was silent. Then Pashalia exchanged places with Genia on the stage, and a mesmerizing light splashed onto his frame.
さあみんな、お客さんに挨拶しよう。
Pashalia raised his baton and... Ooh, that's really pretty. Tiny orbs of light flickered into existence on the stage, among the audience seats, and on the ceiling, filling our vision.
まあ、
綺麗。
Expressions of wonder rippled through the seats. Pashalia waved his baton from right to left, and with his movement the lights of the spirits drifted around in the air like a waltz. Everyone's gaze moved along with them, following the orbs of light. As they did, a gentle voice echoed inside the tent.
今から紡ぐ物語は、僕たち精霊が見てきたこの街、オリエンスです。この街のみんなと生き、暮らしてきた僕たちが何を思い、何を感じてきたのか。それから、今もみんなのことを見守っているということを、どうか知ってください。
ここは水上都市オリエンス。人と精霊が共存する水の都。かつてはオリエンスを築いた水の大精霊レーベを皆が敬愛していました。
Thafara, in the role of a citizen, stepped onto the stage.
レーベ様は人が喜ぶのが好きで芸術の発展に尽くしてくれたからな。この芸術を愛する都市なら俺のパフォーマンスを認めてくれるはずだ。
You're asking where in the world humans and spirits don't coexist in harmony. Well, they don't seem to be quite coexisting quite right here, remember? People are polluting the water.
る者がジャグリングやパントマイムを披露すると、
あの子何か面白いことをしだした。僕たちも協力しよう。
お、水でできた玉。これもジャグリングしろってか。しょうがないな、やってやるよ。よっよっほっほっ。
水球を使ったジャグリングなんて初めて見た。
それに見て、あの玉光ってる。
Inside these water orbs were glowing mystic stones, just like the ones the spirits were holding. Zephyra juggled them with ease before finally tossing them high into the air. How do you juggle water? It's probably a lot easier when there's a magical spirit keeping the water orb solid-ish. The spheres popped at the zenith of the throw, and shimmering water rained down.
うわ、すごいすごい。
たく、ハードル上げやがって。でも楽しかったな。本当は認めてもらえるか自信なかったんだけど、勇気が湧いてきた。
駆け出しのパフォーマーは精霊に勇気づけられ、またある者は、
よ、聞いたぜ。お前精霊婚をするんだって。
ああ、この地に住まう者としてレーベ様に彼女との愛を誓いたくてな。
ねえ、聞いた？あの人精霊婚をするんだって。だったらみんなで祝福しなくちゃ。それでレーベ様の代わりに僕たちが見届けるんだ。二人の愛がずーっと続くように、精霊婚をしてよかったって思えるように。
これは精霊が祝福してくれているのか。ありがとう。必ず彼女と幸せになると誓おう。
オリエンスでレーベに愛を誓ったカップルに精霊たちは祝福を送り、こうして人と精霊は言葉を交わさなくても心で通じ合っていたのです。しかし芸術が栄え、オリエンスが観光地としてもてはやされるようになった頃から、長らく守られていた絆が崩れ始めました。
新しいパフォーマーがどんどん出てくる。こんなんじゃダメだ。もっとすごいことをやってのけないと注目されない。
そんなことないよ。君のパフォーマンスはそのままでもとってもすごいんだ。そうだ、またジャグリングを。
あ、くそ、負けたくない。俺が一番だって見せつけないと。
前はあんなに楽しそうだったのに。
他者より上へ求められるハードルが上がるにつれ、人々の視野は狭くなりました。
あの人精霊婚をした人だ。でもおかしいな、表情が暗い。
彼女の気持ちがわからない。どうしてこうも食い違うのか。
あんなに仲が良かったのに。ねえ、ちゃんと話し合ってみて。きっと分かり合えるはずだよ。だってあんなに愛し合っていたんだから。
精霊婚などするべきではなかったのかもしれない。
な。
ここの水路を潰して新しく劇場を建てるか。そうすればもっと観光客が来る。オリエンスはもっと栄えるはずだ。
あ、やめて。昔は仲良しだったのに、栄えることがそんなに大事なの？
Well, the lighting's changed to be more murky.
もっと素敵なものをみんなたくさん持っていたはずなのに。
Definitely a fog machine going now. Well, or whatever the magical tool equivalent of is.
ねえ、みんな僕たちのこと嫌いになっちゃったの？みんなの幸せが僕たちの幸せ。みんなの喜びが僕たちの喜び。ずっとみんなのそばにいたかったけど、こんな場所じゃ生きていけない。消えてしまう。オリエンスが大好きなのに、みんなと一緒に暮らしたいのに。
上から水滴が。
まるで精霊の涙ね。
見て、ステージに。
On the stage overflowing with murky water, Pashalia stood in solitude.
僕たちの声は限られた人にしか聞こえない。でも昔は話せなくても心を通わせることができたのに、ここは変わってしまった。みんな自分のことしか見ていない。
痛いところを突かれましたね。
私たちは愛を尊ぶ都市という誇りをいつから失ってしまったのか。
精霊さん、消えないで。
そうだよ。精霊のいないオリエンスなんてオリエンスじゃない。
This time, their wishes weren't selfish. They were earnest, spoken out of everyone's compassion toward the spirits.
あったかいね。みんなの思いが伝わってくる。
I mean, we have to switch POV here, because otherwise we won't be able to hear the water spirits.
パスハリア、なんだか力が湧いてきたよ。
As if they were replying to the voices of the audience, the spirits raised their hands.
みんなが僕たちのことを思ってくれるなら、君たちの声に応えたい。
I took a step forward and each of the spirits poured their powers onto the stage. Then... One after another, flowers appeared and bloomed. When I told the spirits that Circus was travelling around to bloom the flora, they said, "We want to do that too."
ないがしろにされても、この地に住まう精霊さんの気持ちは変わらない。喜んでくれるといいな。笑ってくれるといいな。オリエンスに住むみんなが幸せになるといいなって。ね、どうか優しい精霊さんの思いがみんなに届きますように。
On stage, all of their power combined to create blooming flowers of water.
水の花、
すごく綺麗だね。
とってもロマンチック。みんなが拍手してくれてるよ。嬉しいな。やってよかったね。
I could hear the joy of spirits all around me. Surrounded by the sound of applause and the spirits' delighted voices, I deeply bowed. Alright, back over to our regular point of view. The show ended without incident, and we saw off every last member of our audience. Now, we were formally expressing our gratitude towards the water spirits that performed with us.
みんな、協力してくれてありがとう。
We saw all of those water flowers, but what about the regular flora?
サンキューな。お客さんたちもみんな喜んでたし、いいショーになったぜ。
ああ、俺も楽しかったぜ。
うん、そうだね。今日のこと、僕も絶対に忘れないよ。
Though I couldn't see them, I knew that they were right there. I could tell that they were thanking us, or at least that's what I felt. This is such an odd feeling. I'm sure that if I'd only stayed inside Arthea, I'd have never grown to think this way.
うん、またね。きっと町の人たちもこれから変わってくれるよ。
Many little splashes of water could be seen around us, but they gradually hopped into the distance.
楽しかったって精霊もみんな喜んでたぞ。
ああ、姿は見えないが彼らの気持ちは伝わった。感謝すべきはこちらなのだがな。
お互いにメリットがあったんだ。これが本来の精霊との共存の形だろう。
そうだね。お互いが支え合っていい方向に進んでいく。これから少しずつでもいいから、この町が本当の姿を取り戻せるといいな。
帰っていくお客さんたちの顔見ただろ。あれならきっと大丈夫だ。絶対変わってくれるさ。パスハリアもあんなに頑張ったんだしな。
うん、そうだね。ビリオにそう言ってもらえると僕も自信が持てるよ。この町はこれからきっと変わる。
そうだぜ。パスハリアが買われたみたいにな。
え？僕、何か変わったのかな？
自覚ないのか？
Yes, you did, Pashalia. In a good way, I'm sure of it. Yeah, he's changed a bit. He's more confident, I think, now.
そうだな。魔法の腕には驚かされた。不得意だと言っていたが、今日のショーは見事なものだった。
あれは精霊さんたちが手伝ってくれたから。
To add to that, we only managed to pull off such a good show because you offered so many suggestions.
ショーの内容もそうだし、チラシだってそうだな。
ああ、だからもっと自信持てよ、パスハリア。
みんな。
I didn't know which it responded to. Our happiness about our success, or Pashalia's emotions in that moment. But precisely in the center of our circle, a light pink flower floated as it bloomed. Pashalia gently scooped it up into his hands.
ありがとう。
He wore a smile shaded with a soft, tender joy that we'd never seen on him before.
さて、 しんみりするのは後よ後。
That one was a chloris rather than a flora, right?
ちゃっちゃと着替えて後片付けして打ち上げにしましょう。カップル席に招待したお客さんからお礼のシャンパンをもらったの。
Ooh, free champagne.
お、そりゃ楽しみだな。
そのチケットを渡したのはパスハリアではなかっただろうか。
報酬の横取りもいいところだな。
さすがに独り占めはしないわよ。ちゃんと全員で飲むつもりですから。
どうだか。
こういうのは分け合うともっと美味しくなるんだよね。
The team engaged in the usual merry banter as they returned to camp. I'm guessing that we did actually bloom a flora, even though the game hasn't actually shown it to us. Because I feel the group wouldn't be as happy as they currently are if we'd failed. After watching them for a while, I gazed at the crimson show tent standing magnificently inside the underwater park. With this, we've put on 3 shows. I've had my hands full with everything on my plate, so I hadn't noticed, but we're over halfway done. That realization dawned on me all of a sudden, and I felt conflicted.
ティファリア戻らないの？
Yeah, if we are over halfway done, we clearly did get the flora. Sorry. I'll be right there.
何かあった？
Not really. It's no big deal. It just dawned on me that circus is past the halfway point of our journey. Which is why I need to work hard for the rest as well, so I don't have any regrets.
そっか。ショーをするのもあと少し。
Under the evening glow, Pashalia whispered, sounding a little wistful. Pashalia?
君の言う通りだね。ショーができるのもあと少しだし。サーカスのメンバーとして、この先も僕にやれることは全力で頑張るよ。
Pashalia gave me a smile, and I returned one in kind. The evening sun danced on the water, shining as it painted the world in warm hues. Sunset from underwater, quite pretty, huh? Intermission time! As we head towards the next town. So, we'll send the chloris to the castle shortly. We made a stop in a village after we left Oriens. In a corner of the village, we set up camp and had dinner. And of course, we made our usual report to Aleste. They bloom more readily in the countryside, huh? Chorus.
道具の発展に伴って失うものがあるのは自然の摂理よ。どうしようもないことだってあるんじゃないかしら。
We'd put on a simple show that day, when the village children implored us to, and a bunch of chloris had bloomed in one go. In the city, that would be a very rare sight.
もともと子供の方が咲かせやすいが、田舎の人間は都会のやつらみたいにすれてないからな。余計に咲かせやすいんだろう。
しかしクロリスが同時に3つも咲くとは珍しいものを見たな。
そうなんだ。僕の故郷では結構頻繁に咲いてたよ。
Why do we have so many clarets in the first place? I mean, I don't think it's actually properly been explained about them, whether they're plants that exist but the flowers bloom in response to joy, or whether they're just like flowers that spontaneously appear based on joy. And I think it's the latter. So I have no idea how magical flowers produced by joy work.
そういや、パスハリアの故郷も田舎なんだったな。
うん。実はフェルスに向かう道の途中から行けるんだ。
Ah, Passalia's village, huh?
そうなのか。いつか見に行きてえな。パスハリアの故郷も。
みんななら大歓迎だよ。
それでクロリスの送付の他に何か報告事項はあるか？
数は少なかったが、魔物を数体倒したくらいだろうか。
村の中には入ってくる気配はないし、俺たちの方で倒しておいたから大丈夫だろうけど。
そうか。クロリスが頻繁に咲く村の近くでも魔物の発見が増えている事実もあるか。最寄りの治安一帯に巡察の強化を要請しておこう。
Celeste gave us a night. Nope. Nope, that was not the right word. And Celeste gave us a light nod. Something popped into my head. Ah, that reminds me. It's apparently quite rare for travellers to visit this village. They heard we came from the capital and asked us many questions about the prince's health. Nope, I'm gonna redo that line. They heard we came from the capital and asked us many questions about the prince's health. When Tifalia said one more thing, I was like, no, please don't. Do not. No, she didn't.
もうずっと伏せっていると聞くが、未だに治らないのかと。
王子様が心を凍らせてからもう10年も経つもんね。
しかもビゴニア王には王子の他に実子がいないからな。四大精霊の加護を受けた王族の血がもしもこの代で途絶えてしまったら、この国はどうなるのか。正直みんな口にしていないだけで不安に思うものは多いんだろうな。
でも王子は今のとこ順調に回復してるんだろ？
ああ、そうだな。先日など膝の上に乗った子猫を優しく撫でておられたのだ。
That means he can move his body voluntarily now.
王子に子猫なんて組み合わせ、アレスト的に目の保養じゃねえか？
ああ、あまりに芸術的で美しすぎるその愛情に私は。
Where did you go at last?
ちょっともうそんな汚く泣かないでよ。
Celeste must have been overwhelmed with joy, because he was practically sobbing as he described the prince.
本当に嬉しいんだね。
最初は身の回りのことも自分ではできない状況だったことを考えれば、王子がここまでの回復を見せていることはアレストさんにとって奇跡と同等に喜ばしいことなのだろ
う。ま、今くらいのテンションなら聞いてやってもいいか。
The entire team usually ran for the hills when Celeste began his prince speeches. Speeches with a capital S, huh? But today, we all had a slight shift in attitude when we saw Aleste shedding tears of joy. Okay. Let's go grab some drinks for everyone. Everyone stayed in their seats as we watched Aleste talk about the prince between sobs. Yes, sir. I need to do everything within my power as well, for the prince's sake. Ooh, the coronation, huh? Wait, does this mean that as soon as the prince recovers, he's gonna be king?
あら、名誉なことじゃない。
What might the coronation ceremony be?
ああ、ビゴニア王の戴冠の時、お前まだ生まれてもなかったもんな。要するに、王位継承の儀式だ。国中がお祭り騒ぎで大変だったんだぜ。
Coronation ceremony. A ceremony performed during the crowning of a new sovereign. The heir to the throne dons all the core items of the Major Five, and makes an oath to the four great spirits and the first king. During this rite, the entire country is in a festive mood.
ええ、だいぶ昔だから私もうっすらとしか覚えてないけど、五大都市のコアアイテムをまとって四大精霊と初代の王に誓いを立ててたビゴニア様の姿はよく覚えてるわ。へえ、じゃあコリブスの時もそんなお祭り騒ぎになるわけか。
コアアイテムってオリエンスのラクリマイヤリングとかクルトラの
ラビリントネックレスだ。
So the labyrinth necklace is one of them.
そうそう、それそれ。他の都市にも同じようなものがあるってことなんだよね。
By the sound of it, they're all jewelry.
カリダは学術棟にあるカリタスワンドってやつだな。
Never mind, that's not jewelry. Caritas Wand. The core item of Kallida left by Celius, the great spirit of Earth. A wand embedded with a powerful earth magic that has the ability to revitalize life. Currently managed by the Sage Tower.
アーテイルのものは今ビゴニア様が身につけていらっしゃるルケットクラウンね。
A crown, huh? I guess that's not really what I would personally describe that as. It looks more like a diadem than a crown. But that's just me being pedantic. Roquette Crown. The core item of the capital, Arthia. It is currently in the possession of King Vigonia. What about Ferrus?
それはないんだ。
Oh, that's not good. How are they supposed to do a coronation if they don't have all five? Eon lets out that whisper, and everyone's eyes fixed on him.
私から説明しよう。フェルスには火の大精霊バレンが残したインタリオリングというコアアイテムが保管されていた。
That is a very small item that I suppose could be a lot more easily lost. Valen. The Great Spirit of Fire. This spirit has a fierce and aggressive personality. Lives by the principle that the strong always come out on top, which means it's their duty to protect the weak. Intaglio Ring. The core item of Ferris that the Great Spirit of Fire Valen left behind. A ring embedded with powerful fire magic. Presently, its location is unknown. But also, I believe we're going to be having another entry for that one, so I assume we'll be finding it. Or at least finding out what happened to it.
しかし、現在は所在不明。大々的に知らされていることではないが、大きな問題の一つとなっている。
じゃあ見つからなかったら、王子様の戴冠の義務を行えないってこと？
その通りだ。だからこそ、国も捜索を続けているが。
未だに手がかりもつかめてないのよね。フェルスはここ数年、特に騒がしかったし。
そうだな。君たちが向かう決闘都市フェルスは、9つの闘技場からなる剣闘士の町だ。
This looks pretty cool.
各闘技場では剣闘士が試合を行い、日々大きな盛り上がりを見せている。あの町の最大の特徴は、強いものが正義というシンプルなルールがあることだな。
それって強かったら何でも意見が通るってことか？
もちろん一般的な法も存在してるから何でもそうなるわけじゃないけど、でも腕力が強い方がいろいろと有利なのは確かよ。俺様みたいな可愛さが売りの存在には合わない町だな。
Lethal cuteness. Alrighty.
僕も合わなそう。
かつてはベルスの町もそうではなかったのだがな。町を築いた火の大精霊バレンは、強者が弱者を守るという意味を込め、強い者が正義と説いたのだが、今やその教えは形骸化し、弱い者は肩身の狭い立場となっている。
つまりフェルスの問題点はそこだってことでいいのか？
ああ、そういうことだ。
方向性は違うけど、オリエンスと似たような感じか。もともとそういう気質があったけど、それが悪い方向に進んじまったっていうか。
Time to redefine strength. Maybe. Or remind them that their strength is supposed to be in the service of those who are less strong. Well, no, that's not quite the right wording. They're supposed to use their strength to help people.
それもある。だがフェルスはオリエンスとは違って度が過ぎたため、一度国が直接制圧している。
Oh. Suppress?
3年前のベルス浄化作戦だ。聞いたことくらいはあるだろ
う。Ferris Purge. A large-scale operation that took place in Ferris 3 years ago. Back then, the idea that power was everything had a chokehold on morality, so corruption and illegal fights ran rampant. Arthea security forces had to intervene to get things under control, since the Ferris forces had abandoned their morals. Lest served as the commander of the mission.
強者こそ全て。その思想が暴走した結果、汚職や違法な闘技が蔓延した。フェルス内部の治安維持隊にも汚職が広まっていたことから、アーテイルの治安維持隊が派遣され、大規模な摘発が行われた。
ああ、そういえば一時期よく聞いたな、そんな話。
ああ、その浄化作戦で汚職などの事件は取り締まれたが、しかしそれはあくまで表面的な解決に過ぎない。 ベルスのクロリス開花率は未だ下がり続けている。強者こそ全て。そんな考えに固執しすぎているせいで、住民はそれを壊した国に不満を抱いている。
Huh? Even though the incidents were solved because of the purge? I don't think it was entirely solved, Javalia.
問題は根深いところにあるってことだろ
う。国に対する不信感が強いせいか、フェルスだけはあまり調査も進められてないのよ。
だから注意してほしい。今までの都市とは違い、国公認という宣伝は逆効果になる可能性が高い。
It might be best in this place not to mention you're here on government work.
なるほどな。そりゃまた一筋縄じゃいかなそうだ。
宣伝からやり方を考え直さなきゃダメってことだね。
ともあれ、アーテイルを除けばベルスが最後の目的地だ。非常に難しいだろうが、どうか次もよろしく頼む。
Alest lowered his head towards us before ending the transmission. So, we can't broadcast that we have the king's backing, huh? Looks like it'll be another tough one. Just a normal group of people with a normal tent for a completely normal place, performing a normal show. Yes. Well, no, I'm pretty sure we can be an abnormal group of people. We're just not an abnormal group of people with the backing of the government. Everyone seemed to share that same opinion, and the mood was somewhat somber after the transmission ended.
まあ、これまでの街だってどうにかしてきたんだ。力を合わせりゃ、今回もうまくいくって。
And of course, Vilio was the one who blasted away the gloomy clouds hanging over us.
そうだよね。助け合えばきっと成功する。
まあ、失敗するとは思ってないからな。
失敗を考えたって仕方ねえしな。やるしかねえんだったらやってやろうぜ。
ああ、そうだな。
Heon seemed to be a little distracted, and though I was concerned, when our show in Ferris ends, we're finally going to return to Arthur. Despite having that small kernel of unease, I psyched myself up. Chapter 4. Still part of the common route. It feels like it's going to be quite late in the game where it separates out to character routes, huh?
火の大精霊バレンが築いたエスコルチア五大都市の一つ、決闘都市フェルス。この町は強者こそ正義との理念を掲げており、大小合わせて9つある闘技場では日々剣闘士たちがしのぎを削っている。
I really feel like that building, well, the parts of the building at the back looks really familiar. I don't know why, and it's gonna bother me.
あらゆる揉め事やトラブルを決闘の結果で解決しており、一握りの強者が掴んだ栄光と無数の弱者の悲嘆が交錯する町。この町もこれまでの都市のように変わってくれることを願うばかりだ。
Looks like some kind of entrance to a magic school. Yeah, or a palace.
本日の公演は終了いたしました。
I feel like I've seen a building like that that's like sort of around a square. I don't know.
それでは会場の皆々様、見事なショーを見せてくれた団員に今一度盛大な拍手を。
How is the flora?
今の拍手でわかると思うが、あなたの予想通りだろう。
Alright, okay. Physically, the flora does definitely exist before it blooms. Got it. Big seed. Tiny, tiny little sprout. I figured as much. It isn't even sprouting, let alone budding or blooming. The seed didn't budge at all, so I tore my eyes away from it, gazing at the empty seats. A few people had come to see the show, but it was a grand total of 13. This was the fruit of our labour from Circus's first show in Ferris. Yeah, I guess we can't get it right the first time every time, huh? Afterward, I'd gotten changed and was breathing a huge sigh while tidying up our show tent.
こんなにガランとした客席を見たのは久しぶりで、逆に新鮮だな。
Leave it to Vilio to find the positive in anything. I knew this was going to happen, but as someone who's worked in the service industry, I feel utterly defeated.
前向きに考えてみよう。人が少ない分、客席の片付けは楽だよ。
それでもオートの初公演の0人を考えれば、今回は2桁も来てくれたんだぜ。
That's fair. It is still actually more people than we got in the capital that first time.
まあいい方じゃねえか。
そうだろうか。
何を言っても結果は変わらないんだから、ギャーギャー騒ぐな。そもそも今回は失敗前提でやるって話しただろ。
I know, but Lex had warned us that our show would be an uphill battle this time, so we'd wanted to gauge the reception directly. Immediately upon our arrival, we decided to put on a scaled-down show. If we didn't promote at all, and only relied on the presentation of our tent, how many people would come watch? Would people enjoy our usual program composition? Well, after that trial...
結果はまさにご覧のありさまですってわけだな。ほとんど宣伝できなかったとはいえ、さすがにここまで来るとな。
It's so depressing.
まあそんなに思い詰めないで。今回はあくまでお試しなんだから。今回の失敗を分析しつつ、公演本番の準備を整えましょう。
ジーニアにしてはいいこと言うじゃないか。
なら次はいつも通り宣伝と情報収集ってとこか？
Yeah, the sort of thing we usually do when we arrive, which we apparently decided not to do this time.
じゃあ僕は裏方として頑張ってチラシを作りながら応援するね。
おいおい、オリエンスで成長したやる気はどこ行ったよ。
やる気はあるよ。ただね、この町、火の精霊さんの気配が強いからなんだか元気が出なくて。
Yeah, I imagine it's hard to be a water mage in a fire magic. What's the word? In an area so full of fire magic.
オリエンスの時のビリオのような感じか。
Yeah. Because difficult to be a fire-breathing dragon in a city full of water. Environment works. Thank you, Drag. A fire-rich environment. Yeah. Okay. Don't push yourself too hard.
ありがとう。やれることは頑張るから。
It was already our 4th show, so the team was pretty used to the proceedings by now. We all began enthusiastically discussing our individual plans. Our first priority is to fill the audience seats. We need to actually attract people here next time.
だな。さて、それはどうかね。
Oh? Huh? Who is this was exactly what I was gonna say. Who is this?
迷ったのかな。ここは関係者以外立ち入り禁止だよ。
そんな固いこと言うなって。オタクらが噂のサーカスだろ。ここにイーヨンがいるって聞いて挨拶に来たんだよ。
Someone who knows Eon. Eon? I glanced over at him. Eon, who saw the intruder, widened his eyes in shock.
アービーか。
おお、久しぶりだな、イーヨン。お互いくたばってなくて何よりだ。お前がオートに行って以来だから会うのは3年ぶりぐらいか。
So if that purge thing happened like 3 years ago, and 3 years ago is also when Eon went to the capital, I'm guessing he was involved.
なんだ、いいよ。知り合いか？
ああ、悪い悪い。自己紹介がまだだったな。俺はアービー、町人の端くれだ。これでもイーヨンとは昔一緒に。
He does look like a merchant, yeah. Avi. 1. A young man who works both as a merchant and the owner of the 7th arena of Ferris. An old acquaintance of Eon's. He offers to help Circus when they first arrive in Ferris.
ただの昔馴染みだ。それ以上でも以下でもない。
That sounds of it. He also used to be in the security forces, I guess. Unless Eon has something else he used to do that we don't know about.
おいおい、せめて元同僚とか言ってくれよ。不愛想なのは相変わらずだな。
How many arenas are there? I think it said there were 9. And welcome back, Nick. Maybe it was only 7. It was a high odd number in the single digits, so it was either 7 or 9. Avi clapped Eon several times on the shoulder while the former wore something of a scowl. They probably did used to know each other, but their relationship seemed rather complicated. An old acquaintance of Eon's, huh? That reminds me, I don't really know that much about Eon's past now that I think about it. If you're Eon's former co-worker, were you a public security officer as well? Well, I think I called it. Eon was definitely something else before.
その話は後だ。それより突然何の用だ、アービー。こちらは今取り込んでいて忙しい。 話なら後日にしてくれるとありがたい。
If I had to guess, maybe he used to be a gladiator?
忙しいね。そいつはさっきのショーのことか？
お、見てくれたのか？どうだった？すごかったろ。
いや、軽く覗いただけだが、はっきり言ってあれはダメだな。
Excuse me, sir. It was good enough for Orions. Actually, the show in Orions was very different.
ドラゴンの迫力こそすごかったが、多分何度やってもあれじゃ客は呼べねえよ。
おいおい、そいつは聞き捨てならねえな。このラディ様と愉快な仲間たちはこれでも今まで無数の町で喝采を浴びてきたんだぜ。
Raddy, I'm pretty sure we can count the number of cities. You do have enough toes to count that number of cities already. Because it's only 3.
変な盛り方をするな、毛玉。だが他の町で成功してきたのは事実だ。
ああ、はいはい、そいつはおめでとうさん。けど他の町は他の町だ。少なくともこのフェルスじゃ無理だろうな。住民の俺が断言してやる。
Hearing Abby's judgments, I spoke up nervously. Why is that? Is it maybe because the residents here hate the capital? No, I think it's because we probably need to prove our strength to make people want to do things with us.
なんだ、その話は知ってたのか。確かに3年前の一件からずっと王と恨む奴は多いが、けどな、それだけじゃねえ。お前らの章にはもっと致命的な問題があるんだよ。
Abby shrugged slightly, jerking his chin as a cue, and then began walking off.
理由を知りたきゃついてきな。いいところに案内してやるよ。
We all shared a look as we watched him leave.
イオンの昔の知り合いって言ってたよな。ついていって大丈夫か？
少なくとも悪人ではない。害はないはずだ。
He's harmless, probably.
害がないならとりあえずついていってみるか。
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't irritated by his rude remarks out of nowhere, but if a person who lives here is willing to give us constructive criticism, it'd help us out a lot. After I expressed my agreement, Junior waved his hand flippantly.
じゃ、あなたたち行ってらっしゃい。テントは私が片付けとくから。集合はチアーズでよろしくね。
ジーニアが率先して片付けするなんて珍しいね。もしかしてアービーのこと苦手とか？
まあ確かに好みじゃないけど、そういうことじゃないわよ。
Is it because Junior is somewhat well known as a noble in the capital, and therefore people might not like seeing him here?
たまたまそういう気分なの。わかったら、ほら、行ってらっしゃい。
With that, Junior shooed us away. For the time being, we decided to follow Abby. Ooh, Eon POV!
昔の知り合いか。
Oh, very, very brief Eon POV. Ferris, as a city, was structured around a massive arena. The symbolic Colosseum was at the centre, encircled by 8 minor arenas in the inner ring of the city. So yeah, it is 9. Colosseum, the arena in the centre of Ferris. Here, major events such as large-scale duel tournaments and high-profile showdowns are held. Everyone in Ferris takes a special interest in the functions here. Minor arenas, 1st to 8th. The 8 arenas in Ferris located between the outer ring and the inner ring. Each arena has an independent owner. The drills for the public security forces are mostly conducted in one of these arenas. Spectators are only allowed entry when there's a duel. The outer ring contained the residential area surrounding the inner ring. Counting the centre, the city consisted of 3 sectors. Someone compared the city to a circular housing complex, I think. Yeah, basically everyone seems to live in the walls. In, like, flats, I guess. I do really like those lampposts. I really like those lampposts. They just look like huge halberds. Yes, the axe head that's on top of them, but since it's an axe head on a long pole, that makes it a halberd. Specifically because it's an axe head on a long pole, but the bottom of the axe doesn't reconnect itself to the long handle, because if it did, it would be a bardiche. I know too much about polearms. I suppose it could be a poleaxe rather than a halberd. We were currently walking through the inner ring with Abby in the lead.
C 級剣闘士たちの夢の祭典 C バトルトーナメントの試合会場はこの第4闘技場となっております。
They have ranks, huh?
チケットをお持ちの方はこちらへ一列にお並びください。
今ならポップコーンが2割引きだ。試合観戦のお供にお一ついかが？
Ooh, 20% off popcorn.
お、第5闘技場のナイターは来年のフェルスカップの興行権をかけた決闘だってよ。
Night game. A match that takes place at night. Really? Would never have guessed.
闘技場のオーナー同士の試合か。代理剣闘士に誰が出るか注目だな。
Arena owner. A person who runs an arena. A figure so influential in Ferris, the Duel City, that even the mayor can't ignore them. Stand-in gladiator. The gladiator hired by one party of a duel who fights on behalf of their employer. The stronger the gladiator, the more costly their services are.
Oh, すげえ人だな。祭りでもやってんのか？
いや、そういうわけではない。これがフェルスの日常だ。
This place probably served the same purpose as a main street in this city. The way was lined with arena entrances, and it was filled with such hustle and bustle that my ears were aching.
この町じゃ常にどこかの闘技場で何かの試合が組まれてるからな。特に目抜き通りのここは観戦客と商売人でいつもこうだぜ。
人酔いしちゃいそう。
Are you okay, Passalia?
土地柄もだけど、この熱気に当てられちゃって。
Heated atmosphere.
じゃあパスハリアは俺の後ろな。人よけになってやるよ。
I've just realized that there's lights that look like spears as well. How did I not notice those before?
ありがとう。助かるよ。
にしてもこの食い物の匂いが食欲をそそるよな。
Indeed, there were all kinds of food stalls, as far as the eye could see. Light snacks that can be nibbled on during the fights probably sell really well here. Since there's so much competition, they're probably trying to attract customers through aromas and sales pitches. As usual, I was analysing the sellers through the lens of my former occupation, as we took in our surroundings when suddenly...
さっさと出てけ。わかってますから。
We heard a yell before an elderly man was literally kicked out of a store ahead of us. Oh.
今日からこの店は俺のもんだ。負け犬は尻尾巻いて消えるんだな。
Oh dear. Rule of the strongest, huh? You alright? I couldn't just stand by and watch as the old man picked up his things scattered on the ground, so I offered my help.
はい。ありがとうございます。
Vilio, who joined me, glared at the stall that had tossed the elderly man out.
こんなじいさんに手荒なことしやがって。
Hey, I can see where we are right now. That's the logo for Cheers.
俺、ちょっと行ってさっきのやつぶちのめしてくれ。
はあ？何言ってんだお前。
変な正義感はしまっとけ。下手な介入はトラブルの元だぞ。
なんで止めるんだよ。だってさっきのは。
Unfortunately, Vilio, that's how it works around here. I think Vilio's right, though. Let Vilio at them. Let this dragon take over everything.
やめておくれ。勝負に負けたわしが悪いんじゃ。
どういうことですか？僕たちには一方的に追い出されたように見えたけど。
Oh, I can see why I didn't see the sign for Cheers initially, because it's hiding behind the UI over there on the left. The elderly man slowly stood up. According to him, he and the man earlier had hired standing gladiators for a duel with that stall as the wager. The elderly man's gladiator had lost, costing him all his rights to the stall. The entire stall was a wager?
ああ、あんたらは観光客か。なら知らんのは無理もないか。ここはそういう町なんじゃよ。全部負けた者が悪いんじゃ。
The elderly man trudged off, and I could only stare, dumbfounded. Heon then muttered in a detached voice, almost like he was talking to himself.
決闘都市の2つ名の通り、フェルスでは決闘が神聖なものとして取り扱われている。
Yeah, I guess Billio can't just go beat the guy up. He gotta properly challenge people to duels.
小さなものはおやつの取り合いから、大きなものは町の政策決定まで。あらゆる揉め事を決闘で解決し、敗者はそれに従わねばならない。それがこの町のルールだ。
アレストさんには聞いていたけど、思ってた以上に厳しいんだね。
ビリオみたいに強いやつにはいい街かもしれねえが、
この流れで褒められてもあんまり嬉しくね
え。Billio looked conflicted. Abby gave him a sidelong glance before giving us a bit more clarity about the state of affairs.
ま、闘技場を使っての決闘はそれこそ店の権利問題みたいな大きな揉め事に限るけどな。市長や公的機関に申し立てる正式な決闘なんてほんの一握り。
Oh. Mayor. The title given to the governors of each city. Mayors are nominated in Arthia.
小さなトラブルは治安維持隊がその場で立ち会って勝敗を裁くんだ。コイントスとかな。
Ah, so not always an actual duel.
そのあたりのルールは意外なほど細かく決められてるって話だな。例えば決闘は必ず両者の合意を必要としているし、あまりに不当な申し立てはそもそも決闘が受理されなかったりハンデがつくことも多いそうだ。
So there's still some order.
じゃなかったらこの街はやりたい放題の無法地帯だろうぜ。
What would happen to the elderly man from earlier? No matter how worried I was, there was nothing I could do. Feeling torn, I continued to walk on.
ここだここだ。
Avi halted his footsteps before the reception area of a gate with the number 7 on it.
おーい、ルナ。
Aw, she's cute.
あ、アービーさん、今日もサボりですか？
おいおい、まるで俺が普段からサボってるみたいに言うなっての。
Let's see, Luna. Aw, I like that outfit.
今日は視察ついでに昔の知り合いを案内してやろうと思ってな。
VIP 席埋まってますけど。
立ち見で構わねえよ。そっちのが直に伝わるだろうしな。
ならどうぞ。
待たせたな。じゃあ行こうぜ。
That was...
ルーノか？ここの受付係だよ。愛想はないけど、働き者だぜ。
Oh, no, that's not what I mean.
そもそもここはどこなんだよ。勝手に入っていい場所なのか？
ああ、そういうことか。ここはフェルスに8つある小闘技場の一つ。俺がオーナーを務めてるフェルス第7闘技場だよ。
The moment we stepped in, we were slammed by the cacophony of cheers inside, which dwarfed the noise from earlier. In the center of the arena were two men with swords, locked in battle. Blades clashed and gleamed, blood danced in the air in intoxicating arcs, making the two go mad as a fatal showdown unraveled. No! I gasped in shock, overwhelmed by the intense exchange before us. However,
そこだ、ベッツせ。有り金全部かけてんだ。みっともない試合すんじゃねえぞ。
in contrast to my reaction, the spectators were screaming louder and louder in joy. What's the design on there? Okay. It's sort of squiggly, almost floral around that diamond. Ooh. Almost as if you were responding to the audience, one gladiator sliced a clean horizontal line on the chest of his opponent. Aren't they going to stop them? One of them's going to die at this rate. Oh, that's good. I guess. If you kill your opponent, you lose by default. That at least stops what it could be like. You wonder what benefits you get for owning an arena other than money? Well, it seems to involve political power, based on what the glossary thing for arena owners was. But they're still... That was when Arby spread his hands and faced us once more.
見ろよ、この熱気、この興奮。これで分かっただろ。確かにお前らのショーはすごいさ。他の町で成功したのも分かる。けど、ここの住民はな、生まれた時からこの闘技場の激しい試合を見て育ってるんだ。それに、毎日のように試合もある。お前らのお綺麗なショーじゃ見向きもしねえよ。
I mean, maybe they might want something different, Abby. Variety is the spice of life and all that. I couldn't even think of a rebuttal. Well, probably I couldn't, but I could. Many people in the overcrowded audience were indeed going wild over this show. Yeah, he definitely used to be a gladiator. Have you spoken in a teasing tone and Eon's eyes darkened in response?
我々のショーに文句をつけに来ただけか。
まさかサーカスってやつが他の都市で人々を沸かせてるって話は俺の耳にも入ってきてる。そこに旧友がいるって聞いた時は俺も鼻が高かったぜ。でもこの町でお前らのショーは通じない。旧友に恥をかかせたくないからな。助けてやろうと思ったんだよ。
Mubby smirked meaningfully as he spoke.
一つだけお前らのショーを確実に成功させられる方法がある。
確実に？その方法ってのは何だよ？
I'm assuming that this method involves at least one of our members getting really high up in the gladiatorial stakes.
簡単な話さ。お前らのショーを俺にプロデュースさせてくれ。
Or this. Hey, wait. Isn't that my job? Wait, Abby's trying to take my job. Huh?
世界最強の幻獣であるドラゴンと帰ってきた伝説の剣闘士イーオンの本気の殺し合い。
There we go. He's given away the fact that Eon used to be a gladiator. But we're not having Eon and Filio fight to the death, Abby. We can't do that.
孔明打って売り出せば間違いなく盛り上がるだろう。
Legendary gladiator? I turned my questioning gaze towards Eon, but he remained utterly silent with a grimace on his face.
なんでよそ者のお前にプロデュースを任せなきゃなんねんだよ。
悪い話じゃねえはずだぜ。俺は仮にも闘技場のオーナーだし、この町じゃそれなりに影響力がある。大闘技場の使用許可も出せるし、宣伝だって任せてくれりゃいい。
We would probably have a better chance of getting people if we were set up in the Colosseum, that is true. He has a point. Avi's offer could be something very helpful to us right now. Having the backing of someone with power would be very reassuring. But...
すぐ返事しろとは言わねえが、一案として考えといてくれよ。じゃ、俺は用事があるから行かせてもらうな。ここは好きなだけ見て、好きな時に出てってくれて構わねえから。
With those words, Avi left. We watched him go in complete silence.
お疲れ様でした。また観戦したいときは私に申し付けてください。あなた方は無料で通すようにアービーさんに言われてるので。
Oh, cool! We get free entry while we're here. Okay, thank you. After Avi left, we decided to leave as well. Saying goodbye to Luna, the receptionist, we left the area with brisk strides. I went to Cheers. We met up with Genia at our usual place, where we were quickly becoming regulars. Yes, Cheers existed in Ferros as well, as if its presence was only natural.
あれあれサーカスご一行ってば今日は随分と暗いみたいだね。これははっ失恋だね。誰か振られちゃった？
No, Leon.
いやー仕方ないよね。ティファリアはやっぱり俺に惚れる運命だったっていうか、我ながら名推。
You're a great detective, are you, Leanne? I don't think so. If anyone's a great detective here, it's me.
ため息で返事するのやめてよ。
お前の推理は迷う方だろ。さっさと案内しろ。
Oof. Zephyr, that...
突っ込んでくれるだけザフォラが一番優しいのかも。
もう勝手に座るぞ。
ごめんごめん、ちゃんと仕事しますって。7名様ご案内。
In his usual cheery demeanor, Leanne led us to a table. We immediately began discussing the events from earlier.
なるほどね。闘技場オーナーの協力は魅力的だけど、殺し合いと題した演目だなんて、エレガントさとは無縁の発想。
Yeah, it is certainly not elegant.
僕もちょっとそういうのは肌に合わないかも。今までしてきたショーとは全然方向性が違うし、正直僕は好きじゃない。
I can't see myself ever coming around to Avi's proposal either. We'd faced dangerous things on our journey so far. Fiend encounters, thieves. but hurting each other, especially during a show, felt wrong to me. But Japalia, can I interest you in a concept called stage combat? I'm pretty sure we can put on a fight where no one gets hurt if we practice it well enough. To say nothing of actually trying to get applause with such a demonstration.
肌に合う合わないはこの際どうでもいいだろう。
Yeah, I mean, maybe I didn't use quite the right phrase for that, Drag, but the sort of thing when you have, like, a fight as part of a play, or indeed as part of a movie, is basically the same thing. If you put on a fight that looks real enough to the audience or the camera, but that no one's in danger of actually getting hurt in. Just a fully choreographed fight would probably... Well, actually probably not here, given how used they are to real combat. Might not work.
手段はどうであれ、俺たちはどうにかしてフローラを咲かせる必要があるんだからな。
なら、アービーの提案通りにするってのか。
何も代案が見つからなければ、そうするしかないだろう。
俺は絶対お断りだ。いくらショーとはいえ、イーオンと殺し合いなんてさ。
言い合ったって今すぐに結論は出ねえんだ。二人とも落ち着け。
He's right. Frankly, I think it's too tall of an order to make our decision about Avi's offer right away. We managed to learn about one side of the city through Avi, but I feel like we haven't gotten much information about the problem we need to solve, the crux of the matter.
さっき少しだけ見たけど、弱い人の肩身が狭くなってるってことだよね。
あのじいさん、大丈夫だったのかな。
そこを考えても結局俺らにはどうしようもねえからな。ああいうのが少しでも減るようになんとかしなきゃなんねんだよな。
With Avi's method, we could possibly gather enough spectators and fan their excitement. But to be honest, I can't imagine the flora blooming even if that happens.
だが、まだ提案された形以外、方法が見つからない。だからまずは調査か。
Yeah, we need to learn more about the people of Ferris. We can't just focus on the excitement on the surface. We need to hear the voices of the vulnerable.
そうだな。我々には我々のやり方がある。
うん。いつも通り僕たちにできることから始めよう。
それじゃあ今日はいろいろあってみんな疲れちゃってるだろうし、町の調査は明日からね。みんな今日はゆっくり休みなさい。
Almost as if trying to cool us down from the fever of the arena. A warm evening breeze brushed over us as we headed toward our camp outside the city walls. Map. Right, before we choose who we're gonna go hang out with, which, I mean, the answer to that is extremely obvious, because we're going to hang out with Eon, I am going to go and refill my water, have a bit of a stretch. So I will be right back. Right. Where is Eon and what is he doing? Actually, what is everyone doing? So Vilio is at the Ferris main entrance. I saw Vilio going towards the main entrance. Raddy is at the house tent. Raddy is getting ready to go out. Talia is at the stadium. Investigate the stadium. Junior is at the central arena. Investigate the central arena. Zephyr is in the inner ring. Investigate the inner ring. So this is how it's worked. It's kind of like a wheel and spoke. That makes sense. And Eon is wherever that went. Oh, over there. In the outer ring. Alright, let's investigate the outer ring with Eon. In the early afternoon, the day after we decided to investigate Ferris as a team, I was wandering around the commercial area of the inner ring. Something smells really nice over there. Lured by the delectable aroma, I pressed on. In a passage near the entrance to one of the arenas, small is on the next one. Vendors were gathered around with small wagons selling light meals. I'd gotten a glimpse yesterday, but this time I took the chance to explore. These vendors must gather around arenas with upcoming duels. Even brick-and-mortar shops are mostly built near the arenas. Hello there, excuse me. May I have one of those toasted sandwiches?
おや、珍しいお客さんだね。はい、毎度あり。
First, I was puzzled as to why he called me rare. But after I purchased the sandwich, distanced myself, and observed the shops once more. Oh, wow. Men everywhere. I'd taken note of the bustling business here, but upon a second look, the customer base was very homogeneous. Almost all were men. Where are the women and children? Pondering that, I walked on. I spotted a familiar figure ahead of me in the passage and halted my footsteps. That's...
人々を楽しませて回る国家公認のパフォーマンス集団ね。お前が所属してるって聞いたときは一体何の冗談かと思ったぜ。
似合わぬ自覚はある。
そもそもよく国の許可が下りたな。まさかリングが見つかったのか？
いや、残念ながらそれはまだだ。
はあ、そんな状態でよく旅なんて許されたもんだな。
自分としてはこのまま人知れず失われていた方がありがたいが、あれの存在意義的にそうもいかない。
What happened with that ring, Eon?
まあそうだよな。あんなもんでも体感の儀なんかにも使われる国宝の一つだし。
そうだな。
まあともかく昔のよしみだ。俺の方でもリングの所在可能な範囲でだが気にしといてやる。今この町は特に国の奴らを嫌ってるからな。内部にいる俺の方が探すのには向いてるだろ。
ああ、助かる。
つうかリングの所在もつかめねえ危ない状態なのに、よくサーカスとやらもお前を受け入れたな。誰も反対しなかったのか？
いや、ジーニア団長を除けば事情は誰にも明かしていない。
I mean, it feels like a lot of them are going to get to know about this sooner or later.
余計なことを言ってこじれるなら言わない方がいいとのことだ。
で、お前はそれに従って自分の過去も伏せてるってわけか。そんなに知られたくないのかよ。
Ring? Past? What in the world are they talking about? Though I felt guilty for listening in, I continued to peek at them.
何してるの？そんなに驚かなくても。
Sorry. I was deep in thought. You were the receptionist at the arena. Luna, was it?
うん。何かアービーさんに用？必要なら呼ぶけど。
No, it's fine. I was only passing by. Did you just finish work, perhaps? You're very admirable going to work at your age. I'd started helping out at Liba when I was about as old as her, but usually people wouldn't start their first official job until around my current age. Yeah, maybe Luna can tell us what the women and children do in this city.
他の町は知らないけど、ペルスでは普通。同じくらいの年の子は大体働いてる。
Even the age people start working is completely different between cities, huh? Once again, I experienced a sense of culture shock. To add to the impression I'd gotten when she'd attended to us the day before, she was rather mature and detached for her age. I thought children were usually much more excitable. I mean, she doesn't look that young, right? How do I put it? She feels much older than she looks. As I thought about her, Luna shrugged and spoke in a subdued whisper.
それに私、家族いないから、働かないと生きていけないし。
Oh. An orphan, huh? Oh, I see. My gaze drifted downward, but Luna just looked at me with the same cool eyes.
同情別にいらないから。こんなのよくあること。
No, it's not pity, it's just that we're the same. I don't have parents either. Yeah, but you do have a family still to value. Like, you lived with your aunt. That's probably more than Luna has.
そうなの?
Yeah, they passed away when I was a child. I'd intended to say that in a matter-of-fact way, but I wasn't confident that I'd managed to suppress my emotions. My memories of my parents were disjointed, vague fragments from far away in the past. Right now, I had a precious family in Spirea and Radi, but whenever I recalled my parents, my chest still felt tight.
出して。
Luna spoke to me in a gentle voice as I cast my eyes down. Puzzled, I offered her my hand. She drew a mysterious triangular symbol on my hand with her finger.
これね、剣闘士だったパパが教えてくれた勇気の出るおまじないなんだ。
Symbol of bravery. A triangular mark on Luna's dad's arm. Luna said drawing this symbol on her palm gives her courage.
勇気の印って言って、パパの腕にもこの印が入ってたの。
You teach me such a precious spell?
うん。普段は教えないけど、パパママがいない同士だから特別。さっきのお姉ちゃん、とっても悲しそうだったから。
Thank you, Luna. I was elated to receive such compassion. Moved by her gesture, I clasped the hand that she drew on and squeezed it as I thanked her.
どういたしまして。
Luna smiled as she replied. Glossary entry. Luna, a young girl who works as a receptionist at Ferris's arenas. Ever since her gladiator father died, she has been living alone and reciting the bravery spell he taught her. She and our heroine quickly strike up a bond because they are both orphans. At first she seemed so aloof, but when she smiles, she's just like any other girl her age, and she's adorable. Well, yeah, she is adorable. I'd come across all kinds of people, both at Liba and during our journey. But for some reason, Luna seemed to have earned herself a special corner of my heart.
Tifaria, こんなところで何をしているんだ?
Oh no, we've been caught! They must have finished their discussion because Ion and Abby were now approaching us.
ルーナが誰かと談笑なんて珍しいな。つーか、そろそろ昼休憩終わる時間だぞ。
あ、そうでした。仕事戻ります。じゃあ、またね、ティファリアお姉ちゃん。
お姉ちゃん、huh? Okay. Thanks, Luna.
じゃあな、いいよ。
ああ。
After Avi and Luna left, Ion and I decided we might as well wander around the city together.
さあ、らっしゃいらっしゃい。うちのフライドチキンは熱々でうまいよ。
Ooh, fried chicken.
さらに3本買うごとに今熱い永久検討士の決闘観覧券がなんと1枚特別についてくる。
That sounds like a good deal. I mean, I don't know how much tickets to an A-rank gladiator duel usually cost, but I don't know how much this fried chicken costs.
検討士はランダムだが全員永久で外れなし。さあ、今がお買い得だよ。
One of your cats really wants chicken again, huh? I mean, I think cats quite like chicken, right? What's all that A-rank stuff about?
ああ、あれは剣闘士のランクのことだ。
Gladiator rank. Gladiators are ranked depending on their strength into A rank, B rank, and C rank. The stronger the gladiator, the more expensive their services are. Yeah, that's it. That seems perfectly reasonable.
A 級、B 級、C 級と分かれていて、それぞれ強さでランクが決められる。
So C is the lowest.
A 級が一番強く、それゆえ人気も高い。何より強さを尊ぶこの町では、剣闘士は尊敬を集める職業だ。正直、市長よりも上位の剣闘士や闘技場のオーナーの方が発言権が強い。実質的に町を運営しているのは小闘技場のオーナーたちだそうだ。
Interesting. Then Avi's a big shot, huh? When Harvey's name slips out of my mouth, my words ground to a halt. What should I do? Can I ask him about what I overheard just now? Eon, I have a question. Ooh, okay. Nope, it's not the one. Yep. Quick save. I can never remember which of the L and R buttons it is. Right, I did quick save. Yeah. Okay, what's the ring? I mean, that really makes it blatantly obvious that I was listening in. Do I want to make it really obvious that I was listening in? Well, were you a gladiator once? Which, obviously the answer to that is yes, but... Well, assuming that we believe Abby, that's, I suppose. I don't know which one of these is the right one, huh? But that's why we have a quick save. I think I'll go with, were you a gladiator once? Abby called you the legendary gladiator, right? Does that mean you are a gladiator too, Eon?
昔、一時期な。
Legendary means you must have been very strong, right? It was easy to tell at a glance that Eon was a powerful warrior. However, he seemed distant as he only shrugged in reply.
強いといえば強かったのだろう。だが、それは決して自分にとって喜ばしいことではない。
I do not think that this was the correct option. Huh? Despite the city's strength is justice mantra, he wasn't happy about being strong? Eon ended the discussion there and held his tongue. He finally shook his head and said,
他の者も今日の調査を終える頃だ。そろそろ戻るとしよう。
Great, quick load! So clearly, we need to make it obvious we just overheard him. What's the ring? Yeah, what's going on with the ring you mentioned?
なぜそんなこと
Yep, that was the right one. Sorry. When I passed by earlier, I accidentally overheard something about it. For some reason, Eon seemed to wrestle with himself for a while about what to say. Eventually, he opened his mouth in resignation.
自分はずっと以前からとある指輪を探している。
I mean, I'm pretty sure I know which ring, but... I guess Tifalia hasn't worked that out, because Tifalia is not a great detective.
できるなら、この先二度と見つからないことを願いながら。
What do you mean? You're looking for it, but you don't want anyone to find it? Eon ended the discussion there and held his tongue. This is back to where we were before. He finally shook his head and said,
他の者も今日の調査を終える頃だ。そろそろ戻るとしよ
う。Okay. He does not want to talk about this, huh?
夕食は何がいいだろうか。この年は慣れた食材が多い。腕を震わせてもらおう。
Just looking at him, Eon seemed perfectly normal as he spoke about cooking. But in my eyes, he seemed tense somehow. On my way back to camp, I felt a small seed of unease take root in my heart. At night, several days later, with our investigation mostly finished, we all returned to camp. We went over our findings at dinner while discussing our upcoming show.
ま、おおむね元の情報通りって感じだな。腕力が強ければ一目置かれるし、弱ければ下に見られる。単純な思考回路の奴らばかりだ。
結局最後は腕力に持ち込まれるから、弱い立場の人間は声も上げづらい。確かにこの町のルールは勝負で決めるってもんだが、明らかに悪い方向へ熱狂してるな。
みんながそういう考え方をしてるから闘技場が盛り上がるのは当然だけど、でもこの町の人たちが盛り上がってるのって僕たちがやってるショーで喜んでくれる人たちと表情も雰囲気も全然違う気がした。
Well, I mean, there's clearly a bloodlust to it, Patsalia. That makes it very different. If Eon is like Luna, it would explain why he has such good cooking skills. You mean if he became an orphan at a young age and had to take care of himself, yeah, that would make sense. Definitely.
まあ、単純な住民が多いのは事実よ。だから一時は町全体が不正の温床だったわけだしね。
浄化作戦で地下闘技場を全部潰して、今は少しだけマシになってるってくらいだな。
Underground arena. Underground arena. An arena located beneath the city of Ferris. And in terms of structure, it was likened to a prison. A place where clients enjoyed illegal gambling. It was so corrupt that they even bribed the public security forces in Ferris. When it was still in operation, many illicit duels were held there, and humans were forced to fight fiends and beasts. That's the point. We came across someone who had a fiend he was going to sell to here. Does that mean that the underground arena is back in business? Or are battles with fiends something that happens legally as well? During the Ferris Purge operation 3 years ago, it was shut down and sealed away. Underground arena?
真ん中のでかいやつと周りの小さいやつ以外にまだ闘技場があったのか？
ええ、そうね。地上にある9つの闘技場はこの町が作られた当時からあるものだけど、それよりずっと後に作られた隠れた闘技場があったのよ。今は封鎖されてるけどね。
それってやっぱり悪いことをしてた場所なの？
現地の治安維持隊まで買収して違法な金をかけて楽しむ金持ちどもの娯楽の場所。
It definitely looks like an arena that it would be difficult to get out of once you were inside it.
そんな場所だから秩序あるルールなんてものも存在しない。
Because like what we saw in the 7th arena, it was literally just bounded by a simple chain. Whereas this is a bit more like a cage match. With spikes at the top.
対戦相手を殺しても事故であり、決して罪には問われない。人と人はもちろん、幻獣や魔物なんかとも戦わせ、生死を問わない試合を楽しんでいた。俺はそう聞いている。
How could they? That means people were forced to fight to the death? The cruelty was so unimaginable to me that I was at a loss for words.
大体合ってるわね。明確に示されてたわけではないけど、そういう暗黙の了解はあったわ。そんな状況じゃさすがに国も見過ごせるわけがないからね。フェルスの治安維持隊も腐敗してたし、仕方なく王都の治安維持隊を派遣して一斉に摘発したのよ。
それがフェルス浄化作戦ってやつか。で、悪い奴らは全滅して、今はめでたしめでたし。
That's probably not accurate, Villiam.
とはいかなかったわけだな。今の街の様子を見る限り。
アレストさんも言ってたもんね。表面的な解決に過ぎないって。
ベルスのクロリス開花率は未だ下がり続けている。強者こそ全て。そんな考えに固執しすぎているせいで、住民はそれを壊した国に不満を抱いている。
悪人どもがはびこる温床は潰せたが、結局の根っこは変えられてないわけだ。
その地下闘技場も結局、強さこそ正義。それが行き過ぎた結果なんだよな。決闘は金で雇った代理人を立てることも多いって聞いたし、それってつまり金持ちの方が強いってことだろ。物理的な力の弱さだけじゃない。そういう意味で力を持たない奴らも弱い部類に入っちま
う。わかりやすく格差だけが広がっていくわけだな。
だからいつまで経っても不満は消えない。
それでクロリスも咲かなくなっていく。
We need to do what we can to change that with our show. After we'd reached that conclusion, we decided to finally begin discussing the program of our show. But at that moment,
Oi!
Suddenly a rough, unfamiliar voice rang out. Shaken, I looked up to find several men barging in, their loud footsteps like drums.
何者だ？
あんたたちがサーカスだな。ビゴニア王の命令で各地を回って公演をしてるってのは本当か？
We've got some people here who don't like the capital, and are here to take it out on us.
ティファリア、俺の後ろに隠れとけ。
Okay.
その通りだけど、何か用かしら？
忠告だ。悪いことは言わねえから、すぐにこの町から出ていけ。
Well, sir, we are out of the city. Our tents are outside the walls, and therefore we are technically out of the city, so there.
は？突然来て出て行けってどういうことだよ。
僕たち何か悪いこととかした覚えもないんだけど。
突然一方的に押しかけてきて、そんな意見が通ると思うか？まず理由を説明するのが筋だろ。
No, this could be useful for us, like if they challenge us to a duel for our right to be here. That could be good for, like, advertising our show. You know, if we prove ourselves strong first.
そんなの分かりきってるだろ。お前らが王都の人間だからだよ。
俺は忘れてねえぞ。3年前やってきた王都の連中が俺たちの生活をぶち壊したことをな。
フェルス浄化作戦の話か？
そう、それだ。何が浄化だ。余計なことしやがって。お前ら国の奴らなんだろ。俺らの敵だ。出ていけ、よそ者め。
Also, technically, sir, only one person here is actually from the government, and that's Genia. Most of the rest of the people here weren't even originally from the capital. So there. Not that he's gonna listen to sense, this kind of guy anyway, but... Les told us as much. Until now, we hadn't told anyone we worked for the government, and I thought I'd understood what we were getting into. But I was too naive. I only realized the true meaning of those words after hearing those people yell at us. I see. I kind of want some more information following that my wife ran away. Because that's very different to my wife left me. Kinda sounds like you deserved it.
俺も地下闘技場に武器を収めてたのに。あの摘発以降、商売上がったりだ。国が町の事情に首突っ込んで余計なことしやがって。
何が国公認だ。そんなお遊戯誰も見たくねえよ。さっさと帰れ。
As the men hollered, they grew increasingly worked up, their volume climbing. If this continues, it's going to get even worse, but what should I... Could it be the women and children are being forced to do stuff they don't want to? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like I said... Like maybe in this city where might makes right, for want of a better phrase, maybe they don't have the biggest choice in who they get married to, which is gross and something we would need to stop. I could only wonder, lost as to what would help. Tifalia! Tifalia, it's fairly obvious to me what's going to help with this. But then...
その怒りは筋違いだ。我々は国公認の集団ではあるが、王都の治安維持隊ではない。それだけ文句を言う元気があるなら、叱るべき場所に掛け合えばいい。
なんだお前は。
地下闘技場がそのままなら、生活は潤ったと言っているが、それも勘違いだ。あの中で動いていた金のほとんどは、有力者の懐に入っていた。もし地下闘技場が残っていれば、あなた方の生活は今頃悪化していたはずだ。
Eon spoke in a neutral tone as the men stared at him. When their brains finally caught up, their faces turned red and they screamed at him.
うるせえ！外の人間が知ったような口を聞くな！
So much for legendary gladiator if these assholes don't recognize his face. I mean, he probably dresses very differently to how he did when he was a gladiator. I imagine when he was a gladiator, he may have had both eyes. The men lunged forward in an attempt to grab Eon, but he easily brushed them off.
違う。自分は外の人間ではない。
His hand moved towards his right eye and slowly he peeled away his eye patch. We get to see what's under there, which is probably an empty socket. No, it is not! That's a tattoo. Or a brand. Okay, he does have two functional eyes. I was expecting him not to have two functional eyes. His eye was laid bare for all the world to see, and a peculiar pattern was etched into the skin surrounding it.
地下闘技場に関わっていたものなら、この印を見たことくらいあるだろう。自分は今もこうして、この印に縛られ生きている。
Yeah, it does make sense why he hid it. Obviously, he doesn't want to associate himself with the person he was back then. Like, in the eyes of anyone. Overlapping triangles formed a symbol that gave off a sinister aura. Everyone went silent, all of us holding our breath as Yon continued in a subdued voice. And people would be way more scared than they already are of him? Yeah, that would be troublesome, huh?
12歳から19歳まで7年間、自分は剣闘士として戦っていた。
Starting at 12. 12 to 19, and that 19 must have been about 3 years ago, I'd assume. So I guess we know how old Eon is now. He's probably 22, maybe 23.
剣闘士だと嘘つくな。てめえなんて見た覚えねえぞ。
そうだそうだ。俺なんて毎年 A 級から C 級まで含めて全ての剣闘士をチェックしてんだ。見覚えないわけがねえ。
I'm guessing the underground arena wasn't quite so obvious in terms of those things.
だろうな。自分は表では一戦たりとも戦ったことはない。
Yep, underground arena only, huh? The immediate thought is, how many people has Xeon killed in his life? Not that we can hold it against him, because clearly it's kill or be killed down there. Which is certainly an environment for a child. I mean, it's not an environment for a child. It's yikes.
こう言えばわかるだろうか。自分は X 級剣闘士だ。
X rank.
あんた地下闘技場の剣闘士奴隷だったのか。
Gladiator slave, which once again, yikes. 12-year-old.
その通りだ。
Okay, so brand was more the correct term for that mark.
少年時代に地下闘技場へ売られ、自分はそれ以降奴隷として戦ってきた。同年に買われた奴隷は27名。その誰もが地下闘技場の崩壊を願っていたが、それを見届けられたのは結局自分一人だけだった。他は皆死んだ。もう一度言う。地下闘技場は あってはならないものだった。
Ion spoke without inflection. He wasn't goading them nor accusing them. He sounded like he was only stating a fact. But that made his story all the more harrowing. No one uttered a reply. Not us, nor the people around us.
散々騒いでいたくせに、実際の被害者を見た途端だんまりか。そこが知れるな。
よせザファラ。自分は責める気は毛頭ない。ただ、こういう者もいたと、そう伝えたかっただけだ。
おい、もう行こうぜ。
ああ、そうだな。
They looked at each other with chagrin before leaving our camp. Abruptly, the world felt quiet again. Ion,
今しがた、聞いての通りだ。これまで皆に経歴を偽っていたことを謝罪させてくれ。
Ion put on his eye patch once again, turned back to face us and lowered his head.
頭を上げてちょうだい、いいよ。謝るなら私の方でしょ。あなたに真実を隠せって指示してたのは私だもの。
つまり、元治安維持隊っていうのは嘘だったってこと？
だろうな。俺の調べでは、ペルスの治安維持隊名簿にイーオンの名はなかった。
Of course you went and looked it up, Zafara.
さすがだな。そんな部分まで調べていたか。
共に旅する人間の身辺調査ぐらい、当然、最初に済ませてる。
マジかよ。じゃあ俺のことも調査を？
毛玉以上の情報はない。
おい、んなことはねえだろ。イケメンとかラブリーとか。
I was pretty sure that Raddy was making jokes on purpose. But thanks to him, Eon's expression softened ever so slightly.
あまり驚かないのだな。
I am surprised, but nothing more than that.
ドラゴン、精霊契約者、毛玉、迷宮森後継者、貴族。こんだけ揃ってるんだぜ。その中に剣闘士が混じったところで、そんなに違和感ねえって。
Yep, we're a weird bunch, that's for sure.
それに、隠し事してるって意味なら、多分、みんな同じだと思うよ。
誰だって、隠しておかなきゃならないことの一つや二つ、あるのは当たり前だろ。
I mean, we learned a lot of those things about Zafara earlier.
そうだな。生きてりゃいろいろある。少なくともここにいる奴らは誰も気にしねえよ。
Yeah, I think so too. And more importantly, thanks for saving us there. Thanks to you, it didn't escalate any further. I'm so glad for that.
いや、自分は何もしていない。
You literally talked those guys down, Ian. That's not nothing.
それに、肝心の問題はまだ解決していないからな。
話し合いの途中で押しかけられちゃったもんね。
What to do for our show, huh? I felt like my hands were tied. Then Junior spoke up in a level voice.
客観的に見て一番有効なのは、アービーの提案に乗ることでしょうね。住民からの反感だって、闘技場オーナーの権力で抑え込める。これはかなり強力よ。
そうだな。まず、 人が来ないことには何も始まらない。
Right. A duty to put on a successful show and bloom the flora no matter what. Zephyr is right. If we don't have an audience, all is for naught. But is that really the right choice? For some reason, I can't see myself agreeing. What do you think, Eon?
どうも何も他に方法がないのなら、やはりアービーの提案に乗るしかないのだろう。
That's not the question I asked.
そうなれば、自分は指示に従うだけで。
That's not it. Eon, coming up with a way forward is my job. What I'm asking is what you want to do, not what anyone's making you do. Silence. Seeing that Eon was torn, I spoke up once again. It's true. If we only consider the odds of success, Avi's proposal is our best choice. Like what we saw just now, similar to Kultura, the biggest problem is getting people to come, even though it's a different cause. But no matter how much I think about it, Avi's proposal doesn't seem like the right answer. That's my opinion, so what's yours, Eon?
そうだな。
With a nod, Eon cast his eyes down towards his palms.
自分はこれでも自覚している。武器を振るうしか能がない男だと。
Now that is entirely incorrect. You have many strengths that aren't just fighting. Like you're cooking for a start.
だが、この旅を通じて教わった。武器を振るうことしかできなくとも、誰かを傷つけることなく、他者を笑顔にできるのだと。
He tightened his hand into a fist and looked towards the city with a solemn glaze. No, gaze, not glaze.
自分は戦いたくない。
If you don't want to fight, you don't have to fight. And you get head pats because you seem to need them. It was a faint whisper that dissolved into the night, but it held the weight of the world.
たとえ将の名目だろうと、もう二度と殺し合いはしたくないんだ。
In that instant, we probably all settled on one answer.
よし、なら決まりだな。
だが、これは自分の感情でしかない。やりたくないというのと、章の内容が適正かどうかという点は関係ないと思うのだが。
それでいいんだよ。決めるには十分だ。
うん、僕も賛成だよ。仲間同士で傷つけ合うなんてやっぱりしてほしくないし。
そもそも根本の問題をどうにかしなけりゃフローラは咲かない可能性が高い。
それもそうね。人だけ集めて結局咲きませんでしたなんて言ったら、あーちゃんが怒り狂って乗り込んでくるわよ。
Looks like we all agree. We'll reject Avi's plan and I'll cook up a program for us.
となるとあとはどうやって観客を集めるかだな。
あ、それね。街を回ってて思ったんだけど、この街もオリエンスと似てると思うんだ。
オリエンスとか。
あの時は精霊さんの声にみんなが気づかなかったのが原因だったけど、僕はこの街でも同じことが起こってると思う。
なるほどな。弱いやつは 肩身の狭い立場になっている。
うん、そういうこと。強くて声が大きい人ばかりどうしても目立つけど、この町にはそうじゃない人もたくさんいるんじゃないかな。
After the failure of our first show and hearing Abby's warning, I'd been under the impression that our performances had no place in Ferris. But not everyone in this city is put off by what we have to give.
強い奴らに虐げられて不満の声も上げられない連中が声をかけるターゲットだ。
しかし、そういったものばかりで会場を埋めるわけにもいくまい。
Can we borrow Luna for a while? Yes, yes, we definitely should borrow Luna for a while.
そうね。代わってもらわなきゃいけないのは声の大きい人たちの方でしょうし。
ならいっそあの血の気の多さを利用するのはどうだ？
All of us contributed, presenting and knocking down our ideas as we brainstormed. How could we make everyone watch us? How could we put on a show that everyone would enjoy? We deliberated long, sharing our own unique opinions and wisdom. Then we moved on to action, executing our plan to make the show succeed in this city. I went along with Vilio, Eon and Genia to the 7th arena, where Avi was. As a noble of Arthea, Genia had avoided showing himself in public so he wouldn't provoke the citizens. Hey, I was right, that's why he stayed to clean up. But this time he actually volunteered, for once, saying that his status might be useful.
全部話したんだな、過去の経歴。
ああ、もはや隠す意味はない。自分が剣闘士奴隷だったことは忘れたくとも事実ではあるからな。
X-rank gladiator. The gladiators that fought in the underground arena. Those who survived the duels there hold immense strength and can't be measured by the normal standards of gladiators in A rank, B rank or C rank. Thus, they are treated as exceptions and given the rank of X.
忘れたくともか。
なあアビー、イーオンの元同僚ってことはあんたも剣闘士奴隷だったのか？
Vilio, can you see any kind of brand on him? Anyway, the glossary is going to spoil his answer for us, probably. Let's go. Oh no, he is, okay. Avi and Eon are both former gladiator slaves. After the purge 3 years ago, Avi was released because he had no emblem on him, and he began to live in Ferris once again. Later on, he displayed a magnificent talent as a merchant, and rose up the ladder all the way to becoming an arena owner. Alright, so not all of the gladiator slaves have emblems, huh? Also, while we were in that glossary, I noticed something. Why does Abby have a set of brass knuckles attached to his belt? Some very spiky brass knuckles.
Ah, イーオンに比べりゃ雑魚みたいなもんだったけどな。
Emergency cases. Yeah, I can imagine there might be cases around here. You might need those. I suppose if he's an ex-gladiator himself. X in the not X rank necessarily, but previous. I guess he's probably used to fighting with them.
イーオンはすごかったんだぜ。 剣闘士になってから闘技場崩壊までただの一度も負けたことがなくてな。それで観客につけられた二つ名が地下闘技場の死神だ。
Grim Reaper, huh? Oh dear. Grim Reaper. Eon's alias back when he was a gladiator slave, the Grim Reaper of the underground arena. Once you meet him in the underground arena, don't even think about seeing the light of day again. Such rumours earned him this moniker. An undefeated champion with no losses on record, standing until the underground arena was abolished. Grim Reaper. That's very different from the impression Eon gives off now. I mean, Tifalia, remember that he terrifies children and, well, people who are also older than children.
あーちゃんも言ってたわね。各種訓練に参加させてみても戦闘能力はずば抜けていたって。だからって死神ってネーミングはエレガントじゃないと思うけど。
そんなことよりここに来た要件だが。
おう、待ってました。
我々のショーに協力してもらいたい。
ああ、任せとけって。悪いようにはしないからよ。じゃ、早速中身の詰めに入るか。メインの演目は死神 vs ドラゴンだ。
Yeah, we're not doing your thing. We just want your help at other things.
目の肥えた観客に本気の殺し合いを見せつけてやらなきゃならねえしな。武器もありで互いに本気で。
いや、それはやらない。
Harvey began rambling in high spirits, but Vilio cut him off. Thank you for your offer, but we've decided to decline.
マジで言ってんのか？断る理由なんてねえだろ。
Why are you saying no? Because you want us to do a fucking death match! Kind of weird that you're so into that. I get that it has a lot of advantages, but... Quick save. It's our show. We, the performers, don't want to put on a show where we kill each other.
待てよ。殺し合いつっても本気で死ぬまでやるわけじゃねえ。
We still insist. Okay, he just said that he just said that it's dude, if you call it a death match, it's kind of implied. Even if it's just for the performance, we would never go with a plan that would force friends to hurt each other.
わけがわからねえ。筋も理屈も通ってねえ。そんな感情的なふわっとした理由で俺の提案を蹴るってのか？
Who are you calling irrational?
ああ、その通りだ。感情的と言われても構わない。
Hey, we got a neon point there too. How many points are we in now? Ooh. It looks like we only need 2 more.
We 我々自身が楽しめないものは観客にも本当の意味では楽しんでもらえないんだ。
After hearing what we had to say.
ったく、わかったよ。
If Chapter 5 isn't on the Heian route, you have no clue when we'll get onto that route. I mean, maybe it won't happen until we've done the capital performance, but that seems really late. Harvey roughly ruffled his hair as he let out an exaggerated sigh.
人がせっかく楽な提案してやったのに、それを袖にしやがるとはな。お前は昔からずーっとそうだ。容量悪いっつうか、頭固すぎだろ。
自分はそういう人間だからな。そう簡単には変えられない。器用な生き方ができるお前を自分はこれでも尊敬している。
お前が俺を尊敬とか、どんな皮肉だよ。
With a wry smile, Abby laid his hand on Eon's shoulder.
で、提案を断るのは分かったけど、協力しろってのはどういうことだ？
殺し合いをショーにする気はないが、アイデア自体は有用だ。
その人脈と闘技場利用させてちょうだい。嫌とは言わないでしょ。
は？
はーいはい、頼んだわよ二人とも。
おう、任せとけ。
すまない。
Vilio and Eon closed in on Abby from both sides and seized him. After some forceful persuasion, the two climbed onto the stage.
さてさて、第7闘技場の本日のエキシビションマッチはまさかのビッグサプライズ。当闘技場オーナーであるアービーの旧友、伝説の剣闘士イーオンと。
Ah, so we're going to do an exhibition match to build up hype for our show, huh?
伝説の幻獣ドラゴンとの一騎打ちが執り行われます。
ドラゴンだって？そいつは本当か？
むちゃくちゃ面白そうなエキシビションじゃねえか。
なんだルーナのやつ、思いつきでやらせてみたがなかなかノリノリじゃねえか。
She really is. She's making it up on the spot, but she's brilliant. The request we'd made of Avi was to use the entire 7th arena for our promotion. In the background, Luna, who'd been hastily given the role of announcer, made commentary. While on the stage, Vilio in dragon form faced off against Eon, who stood ready with a spear.
さて、こいつはどうだ、イオン。
Vilio roared, its walls of inferno burst into existence, standing in Eon's way as they manifested one after another.
この程度ならば。
Eon thrust his spear into the ground and used it to vault above the flames, weaving both over and under them as needed. Seeing the breaths of fire spew out, the audience clapped with zeal.
本当にドラゴンが出てきやがった。
しかもあの剣闘士、見たことないがドラゴンに引けを取らない強さ。これは期待できる。
だがあれは戦いか？とても楽しそうに見えるが、二人とも笑顔だし、なんで戦ってんだ？
The spectacular battle had grabbed everyone's interest, so that was my cue. I accepted the voice amplifying mystic tool from Luna and addressed the crowd. Hello everyone! Are you enjoying this battle between Gladiator and Dragon? But wait! This duel is only a prologue. Our tale of human and dragon is just beginning. This is only a rehearsal today, so we'll have to end things here, but... Those who want to see what happens next, please take one of the flyers at the arena entrance. And come watch Circus's show. Hopefully, this teaser would attract more people on the big day. With that in mind, we continued to promote as much as we could. Time flew by, and after much promotion and practice, the big day had come. There was still some time before the opening, but the seats were already jam-packed.
ルーナ、あんたに言われた通り子供たちを連れてきたけど、このサーカスとやらは本当に無料で見ていいのかい？
うん、大勢で見てほしいんだって。ほら、みんなもちゃんと並んで。はーい、整列。みんな、私がいなくなってから院長先生に迷惑かけたりしてない？いい子にしてるよ。ルーナお姉ちゃんももっと遊びに来てよ。
そうよ、家族なんだからたまには帰ってらっしゃい。
うん、わかった。
おや、あなたは第7闘技場の。あなたまで鑑賞に来られるとは。
古い友人が出るって言うんでね。まあ興味本位で来ただけなんで。
ドラゴンと剣闘士、どんな戦いを見せてくれるのか楽しみだ。
It's a lot of people.
びっくりだね。最初の時とは比べ物にならない。
だが満足するのはまだ早い。問題はここからだ。
無節操に声をかけたせいで客層は見事にバラバラ。それだけハードルも上がってる。気合い入れていくぞ。
ああや、内容もバッチリ刺さるもんになってるし、あとは全力でやるだけだ。
As we braced ourselves one final time, Vilio raised his voice and made an announcement.
今回の主役はイーオンだよな。ってことで開演前の一言頼んだぜ。
いや、自分はそういうのには向いていない。
何言ってんだ。今回はお前以外いないだろう。潔く引き受けろよ。
どうしてもって言うなら、私がイーオンの気持ちを代弁してあげましょうか。
待ってくれ、それは困る。おそらく全てが捏造になるんだろう。
ほら、いいよ。お客さんたちも待ってるから。
捏造されるよりは自分の口で伝えた方がはるかにマシだろ。
Hion seemed a little lost, but he finally caved under our combined glances.
前にも言ったことと重なるが、自分は武器を振るうしかできない人間だ。
And also other things like cooking.
ずっとそれしかやってこなかった。だが、そんな自分でも誰かを笑顔にすることができると皆が教えてくれた。この町の人間にもその気持ちを分かってほしい。本当に心から楽しむというのはどういうものなのかを。きっと我々のショーならばそれができると信じている。だから共に頑張ろう。
Hion didn't have a silver tongue, and he faltered as he spoke. Even so, his words fit us very well.
すまない、閉まらなくて。
いいんだよ。イーオンが話すことに意味があるんだからな。それじゃあ声合わせろよみんな。せーの、頑張るぞ。
We all traded a look and a smile before collectively answering Vilio's call. Well, that's the buzzer for the show is going to start soon.
Ladies and gentlemen! 決闘都市フェルスにお住まいの紳士淑女の皆様方、 本日はお忙しい中我らの公園にお越しいただき誠にありがとうございます。今宵我らがお届けするのは普段皆様が見ておられる剣闘とは一風変わった出し物の数々。ここにはぶつかる刃の音もなければ舞い散る血しぶきもない。
Seeking two shows in this one stream. Yes, yes I am. Well, it was either that or end early.
ですが、このステージの上には夢とロマンがある。さあ、どうか我らのショーを心ゆくまでお楽しみください。
As darkness swallowed the arena lights, I took over narration and began unfolding the tale. This is the story of King Arthur and his dragon companion, Raguels. The meeting between the two powerful beings who would go on to build the world as we know it. I know that a dragon called Raguels is mentioned in the epic of King Arthur, but Raguels, a dragon who became friends with the first king Arthur 1,000 years ago. He created this world with Arthur and the four great spirits. If I remember correctly, in the stories we know, the only thing we learn about him is that he was King Arthur's comrade in arms.
僕が知ってる物語も同じかな。アーテイルと四大精霊が協力して世界を作ったっていう有名なお話だよね。
その物語がドラゴンの島では違う形で伝わってるっていうのか。
Since we'd used the on video to attract spectators, with the show centered around a human and a dragon, we decided to center our program around these two figures. Then, in our discussion afterward, we began sharing the stories and legends we each knew, thinking we might find a breakthrough somewhere.
まあ、おおむね同じなんだけどな。ドラゴンの間では、それよりちょっと前のアーテイルとラグレスの出会いの話が伝わってるんだ。
Okay.
人とドラゴンが友情で結ばれたのは、その二人が初めてだったらしい。アーテイルが世界を作る上で、四大精霊はもちろん、ラグレスの力はとても大きかったんだぜ。
人とドラゴンに生まれた初めての友情か。
そう言われるとなんだか素敵に思えるね。
この話って俺たちドラゴン以外にほとんど知られてないのか？
Of course the dragons would know the story that sent us the dragon more, right?
そうね。世界の伝承を絵本でしか知らないような一般層が多いから。でも王家の方々はもちろん王宮に近い関係者も知ってるわ。ドラゴンを研究してる学者もいるし。
そうだな。俺も聞いたことはあるぜ。初代国王とドラゴンが友達だったってな。
I didn't know that. This story might be useful for us.
アーテイルとラグレスの友情物語で行くってことか？
Yeah, I've only got the outline in my mind so far, but everyone in this country knew about the legend of King Arthur, the creator of our world. In our show this time, we'd unravel the tale of Arthur's first meeting with his comrade in arms, the dragon Raglas, and how the two eventually became friends. Let's turn back the clock 1,000 years, to a time before the Major Five had been founded. Back then, in a forest near where our modern capital lies, there was one lone dragon who'd settled down amidst the trees. Even among dragons, who were said to be the most powerful of all Fae, he stood out with his absolute might. His name was Raglas. There was no end to the humans who came to challenge him, seeking to test their strength, and his tedious days dragged on and on. However, it all changed one day when a young man named Arthur visited the dragon's abode, which is where our story begins.
また来たか、無謀な人間よ。いくら貴様らが束になろうと、我が鱗すら傷つけることはかなわぬ。怪我をする前に去れ。
いや、悪いが引く気はない。なぜなら俺はここに。
やはり聞き入れぬか。ならばその決断を後悔するがいい。
いや、待ってくれ。違うんだ。俺は。
問答無用。
The flames Vilio breathed threatened to swallow Eon whole, but a fraction of a second before impact.
話を聞け。
With a swing of Eon's axe, the wall of fire was split cleanly in half.
やるではないか、人間。我が一撃を初手で防いだのはお前が初めてだ。しかしお前では我には勝てん。さあ、かかってくるがいい。
Arthur, however, did not do what Raglas said. Instead, he lowered his weapon.
なぜ攻撃してこない？お前ならば、我が身を傷つけることが叶うやもしれんぞ。
俺はお前と戦いに来たわけじゃない。
どういうことだ？人間は常に強さを示すため我の元を訪れた。それ以外に我の元へ訪れる理由などあるものか。
偉大なるドラゴン、ラグレスよ。俺はアテイル、しがない人間だ。俺はお前に挑みに来たんじゃない。友になるため、この地を訪れた。
And this day marked the beginning of the odd and wondrous days that Arthur and Raglas spent together. Whenever Arthur paid a visit, he'd come bearing stories of the outside world.
ここからずっと北の方には水の精霊の力が強い海岸があるんだ。綺麗だから一度行ってみるといい。南東の方にある火山は最近噴火の間隔が長くなってるらしい。噴火が落ち着けばあの辺りにも村や町ができるかもしれないな。
However, after 1 year had passed, Arthur suddenly stopped showing up.
おい、そこの幻獣。この人間の行方を知っているか？
Slightly concerned, Raglas asked a Fae in the forest about Arthur's situation.
ドラゴンが俺に話しかけてきた。ですね、その人間なら南の方の荒れた村に向かったと聞き及びましたが。
そうか。
Raglas traced Arthur's path, and at his destination he saw the youth being pelted by scornful words in a devastated village.
おい、アーテイル、お前の言う通り作物を育てたがちっとも育たないじゃないか。
仕方ないだろう。この土地は痩せているんだ。何度も挑戦しないことには。
仕方ないで済む問題じゃないよ。家では子供が待ってるんだ。
分かった。俺のミスだ。森に行って果物を集めてくるから、それでなんとか耐えてくれ。
After the angry villagers left, Raglas revealed himself.
ラグレス、お前どうしてここに？
どうしてはこち ちらのセリフだ。なぜ言われるまま黙っていた。理不尽な言いがかりなど力で跳ねのければいいではないか。
確かに力を振るうのは簡単だが、力は争うためにあるんじゃない。大切なものを守るためにあるんだ。
Bringing it back to what this city was founded with. Strength is to protect things.
ラグレス、君もよければ果物探しを手伝ってくれないか。
Regulus didn't look convinced in the least, but he decided to keep silent for now. However, when the village came under attack by bandits one day, he saw a scene that made him doubt his eyes. Though it was an uphill battle, Arthur fought to the end to protect the humans that had blamed him unjustly.
アーテイル、お前、俺たちを守るために戦ったのか。僕たちは君に不満や文句をぶつけてばかりだったのに。
気にするな。適材適所というやつだ。俺はたまたま人より強い力を持って生まれた。これはきっと力を持たない人を守るために持ってるものだからな。俺は俺のできることをしたまでだ。
At those words, the villagers apologized and thanked Arthur one after another.
以前はお前を責めたりして悪かった。君がいなかったら僕たちは今頃きっと死んでいたよ。ありがとう。またこの村に来てくれ。次はこの村で採れたうまい野菜をお前に振る舞うと約束する。家族みんなで君のことをもてなすよ。
それはとても楽しみだ。
After the villagers left, Arthur cradled the chloris that had just bloomed in his hand, then said,
ラグレス、そこにいるんだろう。見てくれていただろうか。これが俺の信じる強さだ。
The small lone flower looked like it was the furthest thing from strength. Despite its size, however, the flower was brimming with a warm life force.
そうか。これがお前の言う強さか。認めよう、アーテイル。お前は誰よりも強い。
With that, a friendship was born between the strongest man and the strongest fae.
なあラグレス、このクロリスの美しさを俺たちだけで楽しむのはもったいないと思わないか。
そうだな。多くの者にこの美しさを届けよう。
Eon, still in the role of Arthur, swung his weapon. With each movement came wind as his arcs left trails of rainbows in the air, accompanied by a flurry of shining flowers scattering around. I agree with that girl. So cool. The strength that his weapon symbolized wasn't something that conquered others. Instead, its purpose was to protect and deliver smiles to everyone. The story of Arthur and Regulus wasn't the only thing that projected this message. I could feel Eon's earnest heart from his powerful strikes.
大成功だな。魔法で虹を作れるなんて、パスハリアはやっぱすげえ。
Yes. Rainbows are based are water. Water and light.
ああ、そうだな。パスハリアの魔法とザフォラとジーニアが頼んだ風の精霊との合わせ技。 練習で何度も見てきたが、今が一番美しいように感じる。
だな。こんなに綺麗なんだ。会場中の奴ら全員にしっかり見てもらわないとな。
ああ。さあ、もう一度だ。
Eon POV. With every swing, a beautiful rainbow bridge was built. Glittering flowers raced in the air. The beautiful sight filled my eyes, and the cheers of our audience filled my ears.
かつて見たのは虹ではなく血しぶきで、宙に散るのは輝く草花ではなく苦しみにもだえる相手の顔だった。
Over and over and over. Before I had realized, I had mastered the ability to keep my mind blank whenever I stood on a stage. To blind my eyes, to steal my heart. To wholeheartedly hope that it would end quickly while enduring the throb in my right eye. And those were my only thoughts when I would swing my blade. However,
今は早く終わるどころか、この時がずっとずっと続けばいいと心の奥底で願っている自分がいる。
it was an impossible desire, yet I could not stop myself from dreaming. I found myself asking, who in the world were the ones who made me think this way? It was the members of circus, and I snuck a glance at the wing, and a girl entered my vision. She was grinning as she looked at me. Our eyes only met for a second, but you can do this. I saw her mouthing that to me.
戦って力で押し勝つ、それも強さには違いないのだろう。だが本当に強いというのは力だけを持つことじゃない。
Even if the shackle branded onto my right eye was still there, someone like me could still make people smile. My comrades who taught me that were surely many, many times stronger than the likes of me. Ear-splitting cheers and applause were curtains that closed out this warrior's performance of flowers. The remnants of the rainbows danced in the air in the company of the applause, and almost as if they were nodding in agreement that we had created something lasting in people's hearts. The flora slowly unravelled its petals and bloomed. Yay! We actually got to see it happen this time. And with that scene change, I'm gonna call it here for today. We've gone slightly longer than usual, but just how it worked out. So, thank you very much for watching. It's been fun. If you're new here and you've enjoyed your time, please consider subscribing to the channel. You can also follow me on social media, which is linked below. The streaming schedule is both over there on social media and over here on YouTube in the community tab. And the next scheduled stream is Sunday, 2 PM, for what's probably going to be the finale of either Somnium Files' Nirvana initiative. So, I hope to see you then, or another time. Once again, thanks for coming, and this is Kalla signing out. See ya! Bye bye!